Hey gamers, what's up and welcome to Gamer Life. On today's episode, I'm going to be taking a look at Freedom, the Underground Railroad. Now Freedom, the Underground Railroad is a 1 to 4 player co-op game that takes between 1 to 2 hours to play. This game is unique in the sense that it deals with a very touchy subject about the American history, slavery. In this game, you're trying to free slaves from the southern plantations and move them north into Canada, which is a slavery-free country. While at the same time trying not to lose too many slaves, because as slaves come in from the slave market into the plantations, if there's not enough room, the slaves will be lost, and if you lose too many slaves, you lose the game. Now, I am going to be taking a look at this game, as purely as a game, not anything else, because that's what I bought, a game. So that's what I'm going to be basing my review on. So with that said, let's take a look and tell you what I think. So here is Freedom, the Underground Railroad. This is the board. You can tell is quite large. So the object of the game lasts 8 rounds. An object of the game, based on a number of players, to free a set amount of slaves from the plantains into Canada. Now, the amount you're trying to free depends on the number of players. So, for example, in a 4-player game, in the easy 4-player game, you're trying to free 22. In the hard mode, it's 27. And it's the same thing for it varies for the number of players, as you can see here. Now, players lose if this lost slave track fills up to 20 in a 4-player game. Also, in order for players to win, they must have purchased all the support tokens, which are these little tokens right here. They must have purchased all of these in order to win the game. Now, the game takes place over 3 ages. Let me see if I can zoom in over here. The first age is from 1800 to 1839, then from 1840 to 1859, and then from 1860 to 1865. And to progress through the years, you have to buy up all the tokens from that current period before you can progress to the next period. So as I was saying, players have to get free the set number of slaves by the 8th round, purchase all the support tokens, and not lose the game. So let's talk about gameplay. So the gameplay takes place in 5 rounds. The first round is when the slave catchers move. Now these little tokens here are the slave catchers. There are 5 slave catchers on the board. There are the different colors. There's the orange, the blue, the yellow, the purple, and the black. Now, Academy Games sells wooden tokens to replace these. I might get them. They're about $10 to $15. I see them. They are quite nice, and they are definitely an upgrade from these paper tokens. So you would roll the dice. The dice has one side for each of the slave catchers, and then a no slave catcher movement, which is this symbol right here. And then this dice here has arrows. The arrows number from 1 to 3 in either white or black. So what that means is, on your turn, at the start of every turn, you roll the dice, and based on the dice roll, that slave catcher will move either towards the white, which is west, or black, which is the east. So in this example, blue would move 1 space white along his designated path. And yes, more than one slave catcher can occupy 1 spot at a time. After that is the planning phase. In the planning phase, players will then purchase these tokens here. Let me zoom in on the tokens. Now they can purchase up to 2 tokens. Now the type of tokens you can purchase, there are 3 types. There are the fundraising tokens, the conductor tokens, and the support tokens. Based on the age, based on the period, they cost different things. The fundraising doesn't cost anything. Based on the age, the conductor tokens cost either 2, 3, or 4, and in every age, the support tokens always cost $10. Now the last phase of the game is the lantern phase, which you will be discarding cards from the rightmost here of the abolitionist decks. Now each one of these decks is unique in the sense in which they have certain things pertaining to that time period. Here, let me go over one real quick here. For example, this card here. This card lets you move slaves and purchase tokens, which is important because you can only purchase tokens in a previous phase. So you can pick up one of these cards during the action phase, based on where it is in the row here, from $1 all the way up to $3. And at the end of every action phase, the last card here falls off. Also inside these decks are bad cards. They are the opposition cards. That's these red cards here. And these are bad events that happen. Based on the number of players, a set number of cards is shuffled into each one of the decks. And when they come out, they have several different things. They can either stay on the board, or sometimes they can fall off. Sometimes you buy them to get rid of them because they are really bad stuff happening to the players. Now, every player will get a player board, which also denotes the order play as well as their special role. There are 6 roles in this game. They're nothing amazing because obviously of the time period. So the roles are corresponding to the time period. You have the shepherd, the agent, station master, stockholder, conductor, and preacher. Now, these are just the player aids. The actual player cards the role cards, are here. They are two-sided. They have one side, which has their regular abilities, as well as their special power. And once you trigger the special power, you just turn it over, and then you have the regular side without the special power, just the basic abilities, which some cases are better than before, some cases are worse. For example, the preacher gets $1 during the action phase, and the abolitionist card's cost is -1 cost. But when you use his special ability, he gets $2 per action phase. So it all depends on when you want to use your special power. So let me briefly talk about the meat and potatoes of this game, which is moving the slaves. Let me zoom in closer so I can show you. All right. So you're primarily going to be moving slaves either with your action cards or with the conductor tokens. How conductor tokens work are, if you can see that right there, that number above the cubes, that means how many cubes you can move, and that right there is the number of spaces that they can move. So for example, this conductor token, you can move 3 cubes, 1 space, and they have to be 3 different cubes. Then you have other ones, such as in the later age, which lets you move 2 cubes, 2 spaces. Now, when you're moving a cube, you move it along its designated path. So for example, from here, you can move it to these 2 spots here. Now, whenever you move a cube, move a cube into a path that is connected to one of the slave catchers, that slave catcher moves. So for example, if you move a cube to here, this path here is in the yellow path. So the yellow slave catcher will move 1 spot closer because you've attracted the attention of that slave catcher. If any time a slave catcher moves onto a space with a slave, the slave is moved directly into the last spot on the last slave market card to be reintroduced back into the plantations. Also, whenever you move a cube into one of these spots here that has a gold circle above it, let me see if I can zoom in better for you. I don't know if you can see that too good or not. If a cube moves into here, the person who moved into it gets $2, which is important because money is tight in this game. Now, each one of these small spots here can only hold 1 slave, while these larger northern cities, let's see if I can zoom in over here, like New York and Philadelphia. Let me see down here. For example, this is Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. can hold 4 cubes, but obviously you can tell what slave catcher starts in that space. And then there are fundraising tokens players can play on their turn that will generate $1 for each cube in the lower half, in the green states. That's only in the first and second age. In the third age, they generate $1 for each slave in the northern states. So the game lasts for a maximum of 8 rounds. After 8 rounds, if you have not either A, lost the game by having this slave track filled up, or have not purchased all the support tokens to complete the age, players will then lose the game. Like I said, you win only if you purchase all support tokens and free the required number of slaves and don't lose for that round. And so that pretty much wraps up Freedom of the Underground Railroad. So that was Freedom of the Underground Railroad. First off, let me start off by saying I enjoy this game. I know it's a touchy subject, but it handles it quite well. And folks at Academy Games know how to make history entertaining. Because this is my second game from them. I played 1775 before, and it was a very good game. And they did an even better job with this game. Even though I bought a game and got a history lesson, I enjoyed the history lesson that I got because it's very interesting to see when certain opposition cards come up that it's just terrible. You have to think about, well, what was going on at that time period to the people who actually had to go through this. So it's very interesting, and it's very thoughtful in how the game presents its subject matter. Now, they went with an art style that I don't really like. I understand they went with art style that is coherent with the time period. I don't like it. It's just me. What can I say? My two biggest problems with this game is one, replayability. It's pretty much the same game every time. Yes, you get different abolitionist cards and different opposing cards, and the way the slave catchers move can be different will be different every game. But other than that, it's going to be the same game. Now, yes, you can play the harder version to mix things up a bit. I'm not doing that. This game is already hard enough as it is. I have yet to win this game because this game is hard. Money is really tight. You're trying to figure out how to get slaves from the bottom states, from the plantations out, so more slaves will come in, but they just keep on coming. Just keep on every round. They keep coming. They keep coming. You're trying to move them out, but you can't move them out as fast as they're coming in, and that's the problem. But it's a good problem because it's trying to solve this giant puzzle of how to get them from the bottom to the top. The second problem I have with this game is it's hard for me to find people to play this game with. I don't know what it is, but some people just don't want to play this game. I don't know if it doesn't look. I know the box art is not the best. It looks like it's got washed out. Like I said before, it's based on the time period, so that's where the art style went. But I don't know what it is. But whatever. I enjoy this game. I play this game solo as well with 2 and 3 players. I have not played it with 4 players, but I'm pretty sure it's about the same game. That pretty much wraps up my review of Freedom: The Underground Railroad. Thanks for watching, and remember, I believe there's a game for everyone. Thank you.